Suddenly, there is a flood of SMS, some messages.
Welcome to the Digital Pragmatism. This is Gosia.
Hello.
I am Jerzy. And we're gonna tell you a story today.
This is the story about communication, about a dumb phone.
A dumb phone, yeah. About our daughter's dumb phone, basically.
Yes. So our daughter is 9 years old and she has a dumb phone.
A Punkt MP02, color blue, if you're curious.
Yes, because she's now more independent.
She's walking by herself in our city, and so we wanted, because we are afraid, we are parents that would like to be helicopter parents, but we know that we should not be helicopter parents, so we have given her a phone, basically, in order to have a semblance of control?
No.
No.
So in my case, it was just to have a contact with her. You know,
Okay.
and it's much easier to organize when she has a phone.
You're calling her?
No, she's calling me, for example, and she's asking whether she can go to her colleague.
So it solves a need slash a problem.
Mm-hmm.
And what have you discovered recently?
So she has more and more friends with phone.
With smartphones, unfortunately.
Some with smartphones and some with dumb phones. Suddenly, there is a flood of SMS, some messages in some unexpected hours and in quantity, like...
Other kids are texting our daughter. Mm-hmm. And you are noticing that the frequency is a little bit too high. And also you are noticing that they are doing it at night.
At night or early in the morning, and it's Sunday. Our daughter is taking her phone to her room just to respond to this text. So suddenly I discovered that it's not enough to give a dumb phone.
But you should actually interdict to other kids texting your daughter.
No. Well, I would like to.
Me too, I think. But this is a problem that we have encountered that we have not imagined we will have, because we thought that not giving a smartphone basically will solve this kind of problem. The kid will not be incentivized, to text because the application is colorful and you can write messages and there is emoticons, because the Punkt MP02 has nothing of that. It's just 9 buttons, and the T9 method of entering text is very, very clunky, not comfortable, and basically the premise of the phone is to make you call people more and not send texts. And we have never imagined that the problem will not be that our daughter will want to use her phone too much, but that other kids will use the possibility to text her too much.
For example, we are in a small restaurant and we are eating some soup, and suddenly
10 text messages.
Yes, or a family evening, and once again 10 messages. I have to teach my daughter how to
turn the phone off.
Yes, but also how to communicate with other people, how to communicate your boundaries.
Yeah.
This is something that I was not aware, because when I was a kid, there was the phone, in a room in your house that you could use to text. That basically it was it. Not to text. Not to text, but
to call someone, voice call, basically. And it was the only functionality. And I think it was much better. And now you have to not give your kid a smartphone, and you have to also tell your kid how to communicate when she wants to receive text messages and when she does not. We have started by saying, well, if your friend is wishing to communicate with you, make her or make him call you instead of sending SMS messages, because 10 SMS messages, it's not sending an information, I'll be 15 minutes late because something. It's an invitation to a dialogue. And if you basically want to have a dialogue, just call yourself, And so you have to basically become a teacher, and your kid has to become a teacher of her friends how to use electronic devices in order not to transgress some boundaries that we would like to have in our family. Don't you think it's crazy?
It was just a couple of days because it was a question of
two friends. But don't you think that our daughter has started to responding to those messages because she is seeing you responding to SMS messages? Because we have a disagreement between myself and Gosia. I am forcing my point of view that we should not using texting to communicate or to have a conversation with people, because I think that it's just to communicate a status, and Gosia is has more of a different view. She thinks that there are some exceptions to this rule, because, for example, if you are texting, if you are communicating with someone who you know that has chunks of time during the day that are blocked, you could probably send a text message in order to not disrupt these people's schedule or something like that. And I am of the opinion that you should not take that into the account, because if somebody is blocking chunks of their day, it's their problem, and they should have some system in order to respond to those missed calls, for example, later, etc. So it's not our problem to imagine how other people will communicate, but rather it's their problem how to respond to us. If they are unable, that means that they are disorganized, and maybe we should not work with them, deal with them, buy things from them, etc. So don't you think that Helena has been seeing you responding to texts as something of high priority, and therefore she is trying to do the same?
I don't think so. I'm not texting so often. I think
but
that it's rather because someone texts you, so you
feel compelled to respond.
Yes, in the same way.
So basically you have to become the teacher of your friend how to use technical devices, because their parents are doing a poor job of being parents, and they are unable to teach them.
Well, I think that it's healthy to communicate that, for example, do not call me after 8 p.m. because I want to have my family time or I want to go to sleep. I will not answer your phones. I will not answer your texts.
Yeah, this is very healthy, but this is also very difficult.
It's difficult, but as I noticed, our daughter just done this with her friend. She just said, listen, you are sending me too much messages. It's disturbing me.
Yeah, okay.
Just call me. It worked.
It worked. I'm gonna share my experience. I received a lot of phone calls from my work earlier in my career, and I felt compelled to answering those calls. It's colleagues from work, it's my boss. And then I understood that it is making me miserable, basically, because I'm working overtime and I don't have the time for my family. I am thinking constantly about work, and I started turning off my phone after I was leaving work, basically. And it was very, very stressful for me, because at first I thought that I will get fired for doing that. And you know, workplaces are not communicating that in a clear manner. They are not saying that if somebody from work is calling you after 8 p.m., you don't have to respond. If you receive an email, you don't have to respond. It would be very easy to communicate that, and people would be much, much calmer, maybe much more happy, much less burnout would be probably a consequence of that. But companies are not doing that because they don't care. And I think that in the same manner as companies don't care, and they put this burden on you, also, you know, other people in their families don't care. Other parents are not seeing those friends of our daughter just texting and saying, hey, don't do it at night because she could be sleeping, because they are also on their phones.
Well, I just wanted to say that I'm very happy that I can be at home with my daughters, and then I can react. I'm with her, you know, from the afternoon
until
the night, because in the morning she's at school, and I can see the things that are happening. I can talk to her and react
we should teach our children how to communicate, the channels of communication you prefer. Where are the boundaries of using those channels, And I think it's crazy because this is something probably that should be learned at school. This is far more important than history lessons because it can have a negative or a positive consequence on your mood, on how your relationships with friends, on your free time.
Because for me, those texts were intrusive.
Yeah, they were intrusive for you.
For me, yeah.
So, second order intrusion, basically. It was intrusive for our daughter
bing,
also.
Bing, bing, bing.
Do you think it should be something that we learn at school? There should be communication lessons.
Good idea, yeah.
Digital minimalism lessons at school. So please just implement that at your school. Thank you very much.
Thank you.